Hello, everyone who is joining me here today. This is the Sheffield United Way, and today we are asking the question that is on everybody's lips, given the news that has been doing the rounds in the last few days. Who exactly is Ruben Selles?
Ole, ole, ole. Ole, ole, ole. Ole, ole, ole.
Yes, welcome everybody to the Sheffield United Way, and it's been a week of ups and downs. It's been more than a week, couple of weeks of ups and downs. If we're being honest, there's been emotion, there's been pain, there's been heartbreaking. There might have even been a little bit of grieving. But we have heard the news being widely reported that 𝗬𝗲𝗄𝗧 will no longer be the Sheffield United manager next season. Please, if you want to see my detailed reaction to 𝗬𝗲𝗄𝗧 and everything that he's done for the club, go and check out the live stream that I did on Tuesday night where I gave all of my many thoughts about why we may have come to that decision and what that decision means for the club. But now we have to start moving on and we have to start looking forward. Sadly, as is the nature of the beast of football. And by all accounts, the new manager of Sheffield United is going to be Ruben Selles. He has been given the keys to the Sheffield United castle by our new owners. But we are trying to answer the question of who is Ruben Selles? And this is the first of two videos that we're going to do. So today is all about the background and who is Ruben Selles. And later on, we will be doing another video going into a bit more detail about the tactics and what we can expect from a Ruben Selles team. So let's jump into it. First of all, well, the easy bit. He is a 42-year-old Spanish manager who actually, surprisingly, and that you don't see very often, never played football professionally for any club at any level. He did come through some youth levels in Spain, but never made it into the professional game. He instead focused his attention on studying, and he gained a master's in sports and physiology from the University of Valencia in... I don't know why I pronounced it like that either. It's Valencia. He got his master's in sports and physiology from the University of Valencia before he then completed his transition to coaching at the age of 25, which was the age at which he got his UEFA Pro license. Bizarrely, he had a lot of experience behind him in terms of coaching. By the time he got to that point, he began coaching at the age of just 16, where he would coach the local youth teams in the area of 𝗤𝗏𝗏 in Spain. In 2002, so before he'd done quite a lot of his sort of planning, before he'd completed his UEFA coaching licenses, any of that, he actually achieved his first promotion when he managed his university football team to get promoted from the 12th division of Spanish football, which might be impressive. I'm not quite sure. It might be comparable to, say, managing somebody like Halifax Town and getting them promoted. Let's try and make some kind of equation on that one. His coaching career has been bizarre, though. He has been all over the place, and genuinely, it is hard to keep track. He started with his first role with 𝗬𝗏𝗏 Thessaloniki in Greece. He later on ended up at 𝗬𝗏 Yaroslavl in Russia. He's been to 𝗬𝗏𝗏 in Azerbaijan. I think possibly one of the most important roles that he's done. He was a coach at all of those clubs, but his first transition into something that might give us a bit of an indication about what he's going to be like at Bramall Lane was that he was a chief data analyst when he was working at Strømsgodset in Norway. Now, that experience, knowing the data, using it for recruitment, seeing how you can use it to get the most out of your players, that may be exactly what has enticed the current Sheffield United owners into wanting to bring him into the club. We know that that's what they want to do for their new recruitment style. We know they want to use AI and data to influence a lot of what they're doing at the club. So his history, having been a chief data analyst for a big club in Europe in Strømsgodset, maybe that's what he's going to get in the job at Bramall Lane. He then went straight back into coaching after only doing the chief data analyst role for around 12 months, where he returned to Azerbaijan, becoming the assistant manager at Qarabag, before then journeying across to Denmark, where he was the assistant manager at Aarhus. His nomadic career, which has been here, there, and everywhere, then saw him go back to his hometown of Valencia, where he would coach the youth teams, before becoming assistant manager at Copenhagen. That was the last job he did outside of England. From this point onwards, everything we've got is the stuff that we actually know a little bit about and can talk in a little bit of detail about. He joined Southampton as assistant manager to 𝗬𝗏𝗏 𝗏 in 2022, which marked his 7th country that he has worked in professional football in his career to date. However, He hasn't left England. He has stayed here. He's obviously found what he thinks is a home and where he is enjoying the best time of his footballing career so far. He got his first managerial role as a caretaker for Southampton. In his caretaker role, he managed one game and he beat Wednesday. Yay! He's already winning me round. No, I don't know why I'm talking like that or acting like that either. But like I say, it was just one game. He then had to go back into being an assistant when Nathan Jones became the full-time manager at Southampton. However, Nathan Jones did not last long. He was sacked in February 2023. And following that departure, Selles got the full-time managerial role at Southampton. And it started perfectly. The first time when he only had one game as the caretaker, he beat Wednesday. And his first game back when he'd been confirmed as manager, they won away at Chelsea, getting a 1-0 victory at Stamford Bridge. However, that was possibly as good as it got for Ruben Selles as the Southampton manager. His side were relegated under his watch. He only won one more game between the Chelsea victory and the end of the season. He had 2 wins and 10 points from 13 games in relegation, which, given what we've seen happen in the years since, isn't that embarrassing. It's not bad over a season. It probably gets you to around 30 points. It's not great, but it's not a disaster in terms of teams at the bottom of the Premier League as we see them at the moment. However, I think what's really interesting is where he got those points. He won at Stamford Bridge. They beat Leicester at home. They then drew with Manchester United, drew with Arsenal, drew with Liverpool, and drew with Tottenham. They lost to all of the rubbish teams and got all of their points against the big boys. So maybe he's the kind of manager who likes being a little bit of an underdog and trying to work from underneath to build himself back into those kind of results. Let's keep an eye out. After getting sacked at the end of the season with Southampton following their relegation, he joined Reading in June 2023 as their first permanent manager after relegation from the Championship into League One. But that doesn't really tell the story, because Reading were an absolute disaster class in what football ownership and in just general what is wrong with football in 2025 stakes, because their owner De Jong has just battered that club. He's taken all the money out, selling their key players, getting repeated bans and transfer embargoes and points deductions for not paying players, not paying staff, not paying just about anybody. They were selling their brightest talents to cover for the fact that he had no money or care for that football club. And in such a disastrous position, it's not the best place to come in as a new manager, I would say. However, despite all of that, Selles in his first season guided Reading to comfortable safety in League One. Despite a 6-point deduction, they finished 17th on 53 points, well clear of the relegation zone and in no kind of disarray, hopefully setting themselves up in a way of moving forward. In his second season, he actually took them even further into an unlikely playoff charge. At the point that he left them to join Hull City, they were 6th in League One, which is just insane given what they got going on off the pitch. The work of Ruben Selles and the way that he has taken them forward got them competitive, got them towards the top of League One, and actually in a position to look forward towards success is probably quite a large part of how they got their takeover. He has set them up going forward, so they're in a much better place than they were when he arrived, and that is a huge testament to the work of him and his managerial team. But don't just take that from me. Let's take it from a renowned Reading coverage blog, 𝗣𝗿𝗄𝗃. They were effusive in their praise for Ruben Selles when he was leaving the club. They titled their video, "Ruben Selles leaves for Hull, having brought back the Reading way," and they referred to him as part of their departure article as the best manager we've had for years. And they ended with a tribute to Ruben Selles, which I think is best just read out verbatim from what they'd said. "We will never forget the feelings of walking into a stadium to see Ruben Selles' Reading play. The joy, the anticipation, and those magical winning moments with friends and family may not come around again too often." Now, that is a lovely tribute, not just to the quality of the job and the football manager, it's also a tribute to who the man was in terms of how he stewarded and took forward Reading Football Club. And I think that's a fantastic thing to read as a Sheffield United fan, looking at what this new manager may bring to Bramall Lane. However, he left Reading to join Hull City. Hull City at the time sat 3rd from bottom in the Championship. They were on a 5-game losing run. They hadn't won in 10 games at the point of his arrival. Selles won 32% of his 28 games in charge. For anybody keeping track, that's about 9 games, I think. He won 35 points in those 28 games, a really good return for a team struggling down at the bottom of the championship. Under his management, Hull stayed in the championship, avoiding relegation on the final game of the season. However, despite him doing the job that he was brought in to do, despite him getting a pretty good points return, pretty good win percentage return, he was sacked by the famously trigger-happy Hull City owner. I don't know why. I don't know why they sacked 𝗍𝗲. I don't know why they sacked Selles. However, that meant that he was free and available this summer to come and join Sheffield United, having been identified as our ownership group's #1 target. And I'll be honest, I'm quite excited because the job that he did at Reading is so underrated in the wider sort of football knowledge. I'm sure lots of people aren't aware of what was going on at Reading, maybe just see a team that used to be in the Premier League and think it's, how are they in League One? Why are they struggling? But actually, they've been in such a mess that I think it's an outstanding achievement, not just to get them not being relegated from League One, but to get them competitive towards the top end and in a position for huge success going forwards. And I think if he can bring that attitude, that momentum, that sort of way of running the club to Bramall Lane, alongside his coaching expertise, where we know he's got a big background in terms of the coaching work he's done, and his data analysis expertise, which we've seen him do again across Europe, this could be really exciting. This is exactly what the new Sheffield United owners want from their manager, and he feels like he's got it in spades. This might be the perfect match to take us forward into the new vision of what Sheffield United may be. So despite any lingering disappointments and grief that we've got regarding what's happened with Chris Wilder, we have to move past that. We now have to give all of our support and get behind Ruben Selles. And I, for one, wish him all the best during his time at Sheffield United. And I hope he is the man who drives us to the next level, who finally gets us to a position where we can be stable as a Premier League team. As fans, it is our duty to get behind him from minute 1, game 1. Because Sheffield United are a much better club when we are all pulling in the same direction, when the fans are on board with what's happening on the pitch, and we are a key part of driving this club forward. So let's get behind him and let's take United to the next level together. And hopefully Ruben Selles is the man who's going to be able to do that. So thank you very much, everybody, for watching this video, for listening to this video, if you've got it as one of your podcasts. I hope we've all learned something about who Ruben Selles is as a man, and hopefully everybody's a little bit excited for what his reign may bring to Bramall Lane. Go well, everybody. Thank you so much for watching, and of course, as always, up the blades.
𝗚𝗿𝗲𝗷𝗍𝗚𝗿𝗍𝗔